Yikes. Josh, Noah, Brian, Kevin, Tilu, Jesse, Swim Bates, Lozano, Jalen, Lucas. Everybody slowly starting to trickle in up in here. Tutti Frutti is up in here. Sandman, back at it again. Good to see you again. Really tough to watch, no doubt about it. No worries, Swim Bates. I appreciate the follow one way or another. I know y'all need some hope for the seemingly hopeless right now. So I don't know if I can sell you any of that, but I am going to sell you the truth, what I believe to be true, and we're going to talk about it. ARP is in here, Bleeds is in here, John is in here. Everybody hit the like button for me. Take attendance real quick and sit back, relax as much as you possibly can. And hopefully enjoy the show. The jacket, dude, I haven't had time to take a shower today. I got 3 kids and 2 small businesses, man. It is what it is. I don't have time to print myself before the show. I don't have a makeup artist. I don't have anybody that'll tell me when it's time to go change my clothes, I guess. I don't know. All I can do is try to unpack. All right, so I want to start with the 3 things that routinely plague the Cowboys that they haven't learned from yet. It's rather frustrating. Let's start with the decision when you're throwing the football on 3rd and goal, 4th and goal. The Cowboys have at least 3 occasions. It might be 4. Throw the ball on 3rd and goal, incomplete. Throw the ball on 4th and goal, incomplete. Turnover on downs. If you're gonna 3rd and goal from the 5 and in, mind you, if you're gonna go for it, which they absolutely should, I co-signed that decision to go for it when they did, because obviously we learned last week, but we should have learned months before that, a month before that at least. You don't trust the defense. Defense is giving you no reason to believe otherwise. So yeah, go for it on 4th down. Just go for it when you're averaging 8 yards a carry on the opening drive. When your power and pad level running back, Javonte Williams, always falls forward, the most difficult area of the field to throw the football, you're throwing it twice on 3rd and 5 when you're running back to that point. He averages over that on the season, or at least he did prior to last week's game. I didn't check the statistics after that, but 8 yards a clip on the opening drive. Forget what's happened the rest of the season. Let's not overcomplicate the red zone, the red area, man. Let's lean on physicality, power, and pad level, and let's go run the football twice. That's just something that's plagued this team for at least 2 other occasions, 3 now total at the very least. Maybe one other occasion that I haven't covered yet. So that's problem number 1. The offense makes things difficult on themselves. The offense fumbled the football twice. The offense turned the football over. I think if you include interceptions and TODs, it was 5-0, and they still only lost by 10. It's actually kind of impressive, all things considered. However, the offense, when they know that what they're up against with regards to being perfect, you see lapses. You see breakdowns mentally and or physically. And you see the coach overcomplicate things down when it should be about as simple as you can possibly get. 5.5 a clip, a running back that always falls forward. He plays with incredible, maybe the best pad level in the sport at the position, one of, if not. And an offensive line that's got Cooper Beebe back, that is a people moving interior three that just showed me the first 3 carries of the game, we're getting chunk play after chunk play on the ground. Don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to. That's the first case. The second case, against the Cowboys, the way that they beat themselves and show that they haven't learned from their mistakes yet is on third downs, they can't get off the field because they're doing things like sending pressure from depth. Pressure from depth, especially in the quarterback's line of vision. A veteran quarterback at that doesn't solve much, man. That's an outdated methodology. You don't see teams do that a whole lot. Now, there was a technical depth blitz that got home today, but it wasn't even really a depth blitz. It was Reddy Stewart firing from the nickel from the quarterback's blind side and doing so much closer to the line of scrimmage than the ones that perpetually plague the Cowboys, like sending Shamar James from 8 yards directly in front of the quarterback's line of vision. It doesn't work. It hasn't worked for this team. You already can't generate pressure anyway. Why are we trying to send more pressure from 10 yards further behind where it otherwise could or should be? Just doesn't make a ton of sense to me. The other thing is things that they can control that they choose not to, or at least they've shown us that they haven't learned from. Things that Brian Schottenheimer, who's actually at the podium right now, has mentioned, and things that we've covered on this channel, right, once again, numerous times. Why on third downs on defense do I have my cover men dropping, cushioning to depth well beyond the line to gain? Extending plays over and over and over again. A couple different drops, a couple fumbles, as we mentioned, pressure all over the place. It wasn't good, but if we can get past. So there's this thing. All right, here's what we all got to understand. Okay, defenses are happy. They're getting more and more information from what the Cowboys are putting on tape offensively. Savvy D coordinators are going to put better plans together to slow your offense down. They're going to throw in wrinkles that you continually show to have issues with. And they're going to force you to do some of they're going to attack your weaknesses first and foremost, which they did tonight. But they're going to force you to adapt and to adjust and to kind of figure things out. So what I'm getting at is you've got to be able, if your offense starts slow, in this case, the Cowboys offense started quickly. They just made the game too difficult. Down by the goal line, they threw the ball when they should have ran it. And left with no points yet again on the opening drive when points was almost gifted to them last week as well. So your defense, regardless of what happens, if you shoot yourself in the foot or if you have a slow start, you're on the, you have some sort of a, like a tipped ball at the line of scrimmage, right? And just something crazy in the sport happens. Your defense has to be able to buy your team some time. If the offense doesn't start off humming, the game can't just be over because they don't score on the opening 2 possessions. That should not be how football works. So, should we be mad at the offense? Absolutely. They made a bad situation worse. And if we're being honest, the defense and special teams touchdown made a bad situation worse too. It's keeping your defense that already can't get off the field. It's keeping them on there, right? So that was just the perfect storm of negativity. in the first half, and that's just too much to overcome. They're in 2 minute drill, man, for basically the entire second half, but the whole fourth quarter, it's just hurry up. This felt like a team that knows that they're up against it, right? They come out, they play flat or tense because they know that they have to be perfect, whatever you want to say the case may be for the offense. It's not an excuse. It's just the reality of their situation. Almost like a team looking forward to the bye, ready to take a break. They're almost like in vacation mode when they show up to. It's a long season now. Let's be fair. I know how it is playing in professional baseball. The seasons are long, man. Their bodies are beat up. The mundane, the monotony, the day to day, you know, the day to day duty of maintaining everything to a certain standard, from your diet to your rehabilitation, your prehabilitation, your post workout, your your gym sessions, all those things, your film study, even those things start to suffer when, as the season goes on, if you know that there's no hope for the hopeless, and so issues just compile. So I guess now what I want to do is sort of just talk about like overall philosophy of still where I'm at, because I know the noise is going to be even louder. It'll be louder, rightfully so. Thank you for the gift over here on this side, by the way, about keeping the draft picks. And I'll just say it again. It's what I firmly believe, and I'm seeing it on both sides over here. Keep the picks, and thank you for the hat and the mustache. I appreciate you, Chris. Mustache ain't something that's in my genes, that's for sure. I'll tell you that. I got a pencil thin one at best, but I got the Native American gene keeping me a bald faced bandit over here. But keeping the draft picks for me is it's quitting beyond just 2025. I don't know how more emphatically I can state that, and get it to resonate with people, get them to process what I'm saying, and just set aside your frustration for a second, if you can muster that, and just think with me here. The 4-year window that your offense and your head coach are on, let's just say the core of your roster is all recently extended on the same 4-year window. They're locked up. They're tied in together, which is also part of the philosophy and just the due diligence that leads me to where I've been at, the message I've been trying to relay to you guys, which is they have to do things that they've never done and try to maximize this window because of the situation that they placed themselves in. Not just trading Micah Parsons, but having an offense that we know is championship level. I still believe that it's going to be just fine whenever they're not forced into a negative game script. Yeah, Terrence Steele and Tyler Guyton look terrible, but their holes, their warts are gonna get exacerbated when D linemen, defensive fronts, defensive coordinators are teeing off on you because you're in 2-minute drill for the entire second half. So keeping the picks, man. My thing is, if I could guarantee myself a proven product, especially one that's locked up that beyond 2025, why wouldn't I do that? Okay, so Rashawn says a trade isn't fixing this defense. Once again, there's more than one pillar of talent acquisition. You have free agency, you have the trade deadline, you have in-house guys that are on their way already, going to be back after the bye week. Multiple avenues multiple different ways to add. And you can also have addition by subtraction, right? If the coordinator refuses to pivot away from things that don't work and into things that do work, or even, let's just say at the very least, trying to cater to the personnel that he does or that he will soon hopefully have, as opposed to zone coverage, four-man fronts, four-man pressures, not very blitz happy, right? You gotta get desperate at some point. And we didn't see the desperation attempt until after it was too late. Show me six-man pressures at a minimum. If they're gonna die, if the defense is gonna die, they might as well die without killing the clock with them. Right? Either they're creating TFLs, they're getting tipped balls, or at the line of scrimmage, or sacks, just creating havoc, right? Or they're getting gashed and scored on quickly. Let's if they're going to give up points, let them give up points. Just at least be aggressive while you're doing it. Don't backpedal. Don't backpedal into the slaughterhouse. Sprint into it. Right? So you can addition by subtraction this thing. You can bring a bunch of free agents in here. Well, not a bunch. I'm trying to speak realistically and logically. Like, if the Cowboys absolutely wanted to, if they viewed Eric Kendricks as an upgrade over Kenneth Murray Jr., which he is, you could make that move right now without spending a draft pick. If they viewed Asante Samuel Jr. to be a better player right now over Kyer Elam, which he is, or Traquez Bridges, which he is, you can make that addition without having to give up draft capital. If they viewed Stephon Gilmore, just they want his communicative abilities. Like, let's say you pair him with Minkah Fitzpatrick in the secondary, all of a sudden you've got a very veteran, savvy, IQ loaded third level. You're not going to have coverage busts anymore. I wish I knew what Dak was saying right now at the podium. Maybe somebody can fill me in. He looks like he's he's getting some stuff off his chest. But what do these picks do for me? If I hold on to 2026 picks, the reality of them, because y'all, the same people that are saying one player can't save the defense, one trade isn't enough, then why is one or two picks enough? Two rookies at that. Think about it, if one, right? Hear me when I say this. If one proven difference-making tier 1 veteran isn't enough to the point to where you're mailing in any sort of big swing to try and rectify 2025 and then still have assets for 2026, proven assets. If a veteran, tier 1, proven veteran asset can't help me, then why would we sit here and insinuate that one or two rookies, at least one of which is most likely going to be a second-round grade anyway because of where the Packers pick is going to end up, right? How in the world are two rookies going to save you then in this instance? Y'all see what I'm saying? Yeah, the offense is fine. There's nothing wrong. I mean, they're going to continue getting better. They'll have their self-scout. They'll have their introspection, right? They'll look themselves in the mirror and make some adjustments. The offense is fine. Once again, Lane, not a trade out there saving this season. Okay, so then how is a rookie draft pick going to save your season next year? Somebody answer that question for me. If one proven veteran, Hector agrees. I see you, Hector. If a proven tier 1 veteran can't save this team, then how's a rookie going to do it in 2026? How is a draft pick going to do it? Chris going crazy in the chat over here. I appreciate you, Chris. Is that Blake? What's up, Blake? I think I see you in here. If it's the same Blake Cochran, salute, brother. I miss you. Who do I want to trade for? I want. You can see there's on the thumbnail here over on the YouTube side. Thank you, Vincent. I appreciate you letting me know because the feedback is helpful, right? I got to know if I'm making any sense here. Y'all got to talk to me without just yelling at me because you disagree. Like, tell me how that logic makes sense. Thank you for the follow. Who's that? Let me see. It doesn't tell me who follows. Sometimes it'll just show me y'all's picture and I can't exactly see your name. But what's up, Swain? Yeah. So, I didn't mean to send that. Timothy says, "Hello, Lando. God bless, brother. Tim from Texas. First things first. Matt Eberflus needs to go." It's. I don't know how there's still a debate at this point. I do think that would absolutely help. It seems as if there's a level of stubbornness that's continuously plaguing this defense. But at the same time, man, when I watch the All-22, I can't. No one can watch it and just overlook, and you can't overlook everything that's wrong and say it's one man's fault. Let's be honest. Okay, great point. Now let's play the game. Let's have this discussion. So the Maradonian says it's not just one rookie; it's 7 to 10. Okay. First of all, 7 to 10 rookies aren't making the team most cases, and even if they are, none of them are impact players. Or sorry, not all of them are impact players. Maybe one of them is. Your first round draft pick, you're looking for a day one starter, right? Rounds 2 and 3, you're looking for a guy that contributes on teams, maybe a rotational asset, right? And you hope that you get a guy to become a starter for you. And then on day 3, man, it's shots in the dark. What, like are we seriously? There's no way I'm gonna sit here and let y'all say this. The same fan base that gets sick and tired of seeing the Joneses try to solely win with one of the 3 pillars on draft and develop when they're a terrible drafting team as of late anyway. Y'all are going to sit here and try to sell me 7 to 10 rookies next year are going to make this team a contender. You are kidding yourselves if anybody thinks that. You're absolutely kidding yourself. And a snowball's chance in hell. Anybody believes that in that organization. You shouldn't believe that as a fan because we've seen that be the approach. But what we talked about this morning at Texas Live, Stephen Jones is now no longer saying the dumb stuff that he used to say about we like our guys. He hasn't said that this year. You know why? Because he doesn't like them. And I'm seeing a bunch of people come around now over here on the TikTok side of things, doubling down on what I'm like, finally agreeing with what I'm saying. So thank you to those of you who are just at the very least, you possess the ability to take a deep breath and think about this logically. Remove your fandom from the equation here, if you can, and think about this from a team building perspective. Forget everything you know about Jerry Jones, because he's really not the one calling the shots right now anyways. He's just the greatest showman. I appreciate you, Vincent. Keep preaching, big fella. Only the real ones are hearing you. Thank you, man. Callan says the same thing. Callan Ritter, thank you. Share this content for me then. If that's truly how you feel, help me out. Hit the like button for me and tell a friend where to find the sports below the surface truth for the true fan. So I still haven't seen an answer. And if I have, or if you've put it in the chat, tell me again or send me a gift just to make sure I do something that'll catch my attention, because there's a lot of people in here, 131 people here over here on the TikTok side. How are 7 to 10 rookies making the roster first and foremost? And if so, how are they going to be impact players when you're lucky if you get one day one starter on any rookie class? Every now and then teams will hit like the Jets and they'll strike Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner in the same class. But that's rare. That is rare. Take the proven product if you can. Otherwise, stop extending people. Stop putting guys all in the same 4-year window. Or do something that you haven't done before. Go the opposite direction of relying solely on one of the 3 pillars of team building, which is draft and develop. Do the opposite now. Go heavy into the other 2/3. Just see what happens. Do something different, right? So back to the point about Stephen Jones. So, okay, who's my guess on who they trade for? You're not maximizing the leverage that you have right now relative to resources that you can allocate to outside assets if you're not looking for big fish. Okay, those big fish that we know that have either the Cowboys have taken calls or made calls for, or that teams are taking calls on. Insert name here. I mean, it's all of them. Lakers and Dodgers is a little bit late, I see, and no harm, no foul, man. But just that's what we've been talking about. No trade will help this team. So then, how are rookies going to help me in 2026? And why are we removing 2026 from the equation next year? You realize you can get a tier 1 player and still not have to give up 2 first-round draft picks? And even if you did, you would still probably have 1 first-round draft pick this year. Do we realize that? Because it sounds as if people are forgetting. You can keep your 2026 picks and still trade 2027 ones for a current asset. Do we realize that? So just saying keep the picks, it's just a quitting mentality. I can't quit my job. I have to keep talking about this objectively and honestly. And maybe there is no amount of talent acquisition this year, right now, via in-house, DeMarvin Overshown, Savon Rebel Jr., Perrion Winfrey, getting a couple other guys who have played this year already back from injury. Remember, there's no communication. There's no efficiency on the second level or the third level of the defense in the secondary, right? But there's also no continuity either. Okay, but so let's just say that. Let's say how I can't make the whole pick thing, save the picks thing make sense. It just you can bring in 7 to 10 guys right now if you wanted to. When it's all said and done, if you sign 1 or 2 free agents, you get 3 guys off IR back, and you trade for a couple. That's more than what people keep spamming me with. One trade won't save this defense. It's not one person. And they have a bye week to make adjustments. You're telling me you feel the same way. Quit on 2025 and 2026 if you could guarantee yourself Minkah Fitzpatrick, DeMarvion Overshown, and or Demario Davis, Eric Kendricks or Stephon Gilmore, or both, and either Max Crosby, Jeff Simmons, Quinnen Williams, Devondre Sweat, Trey Hendrickson. You're telling me, because I could do it very easily, and it's possible, very possible. If I brought the league's third leading tackler, multi-time All-Pro, a 3-time All-Pro safety up in here, and a Tier 1 edge, my defense isn't better. If I add an All-Pro on all 3 levels, I'm not better. News to me. Uncle Jay says Hendrickson will be a rental, correct? Would have to sign him after the season. It's a rental if and only if you don't extend him, which in this particular case, unless you're flipping him a freaking 5th round pick, which that's not going to happen. They're not trading him for just that, because they'd get a third if he walks in free agency next year, and a 3rd round comp pick, or they could tag him and keep him. So it's going to be significant compensation. But so point being, you don't make that deal. Same thing with George Pickens. You don't make that trade unless you have the intent to also extend, which they absolutely would in Trey Hendrickson's case. Fire everyone. I love it. Sipping that Jerry juice. Nah, man, just reporting, sticking to my guns, creatively conveying my truth, and sticking to my process. It usually leads me to the correct answer. So that's all I can do. That's all I can do, man. It's just I can tell you guys how I feel. Armando's with it. Crosby and Minka, you are light years better. Somebody over here just mentioned that. And it's we pretend like wholesale adjustments just from a philosophical and schematical standpoint with 2 weeks to really look into who you are. A couple all pros, a couple very cheap free agent floor elevators, and one of the 3 guys in-house who are known to play with energy, tenacity, and violence, Perrion, DeMarvion, and Savon. If one of those guys hits, I pair it with a couple picks and a couple free agents. That's 5 players. 2 of which are all pros. I'm not better. I'm not light years better. My ideal defense looks like after the bye. Great question. Thank you, Colton. I'm deploying an odd front. Unless, of course, somebody like Max Crosby is in the picture. But I'll assume that. So let's say I get one of the D tackles. I think one of the D tackles is more likely than one of the premier edges. Personally, I just do. I think there's less compensation, and also in Hendrickson's case, less loops to jump through with regards to negotiating twice for his services for this year and beyond, because he is on an expiring contract. So I'm deploying with that in mind, I'm deploying a three down, odd front. So my ideal defensive front would look like Jeff Simmons, spelled by Osa, and Kenny, who are spelled by Donovan Ezeraku and either James Houston or Jadeveon Clowney. Those are my two best run stopping edges. 1st and 10. I want those five guys. And with obviously Solomon Thomas, he's been your most disruptive interior player so far. But he's also the freshest because he plays the least amount of snaps. So there's levels to this. It's a domino effect, right? Which is why you could easily make the case for another $20 million three technique defensive tackle. Easily. Especially one that's like Jeffrey Simmons. Very few people in this league move like him and are as disruptive as he is at his size. He's rare. He's better than Quentin Williams. I would take him over. I'd take, and I'm a Texas guy, but I would take Jeff over Tavondre Sweat in a heartbeat. I would take Jeff over Quentin Williams in a heartbeat. I would take Jeff over Ed Oliver in a heartbeat. I would take Jeff over at this stage of their careers, Chris Jones in a heartbeat. The Chiefs would too. I would take Jeff over not Dexter Lawrence, because Dexter Lawrence does something completely different than Jeff Simmons. So I'm not gonna link those two together. He really is your two gapping like one tech. Like he's a head up nose on the center. It's a different sport, but you get the point, hopefully. And then I would obviously, assuming Savone Rebel Jr. is 90% of the player that I watch at East Carolina, he's going to be a significant upgrade over either Kyer Elam, Traquez Bridges, or anybody else that they're running out there. And so I would have Deron Bland playing in the nickel, spelled by Savone Rebel Jr. Man, it's crazy to say. I don't know what to make of Trevon Diggs, but I know if for some reason I don't know what I'm doing at corner yet. I'd have to think about that, and I think they would have to do a lot of due diligence as well. But in more layman's terms, I'm not sagging on 3rd down and cushion dropping to 2 to 3 yards behind the sticks. That gets you beat. That's soft, especially when you have, in this scenario, war daddies up front, Donovan Ezeraku, Jadeveon Clowney, and or Max Crosby, whoever. Another tier 1 tradable asset. If I make the quarterback hesitate even a tick, a half step, if he flinches, that's enough for somebody like Jeff, Max, or even Jermaine or Donovan to get home. I gotta disrupt timing ever so slightly for one of those guys to do their job. So I don't know what kind of market. There's so many questions about Trevon Diggs, man. I can't sit here and discuss him because there's too many things. There's too many unknowns with his situation. Bro, scared to talk about Jerry? Am I? Go check. Google me. Google the Lando Show Jerry Jones and check back Rolando. Scared to talk about Jerry for what? Yeah, man, you saw it too, Rodney. Blitz from depth, unless it's from the nickel and particularly the blind side, which actually we saw get home. Reddy Stewart fired from the blind side nickel spot. If I'm blitzing from depth, I'm outdated. Teams create confusion and chaos and miscommunication with gap exchanges and mugged line of scrimmages and simulated pressures and things from the line of scrimmage, not from depth. Modern defenses, they don't do that anymore. Period. Playoff hope's still alive. Mathematically, technically, yes, but I'm not gonna try to pump sunshine up anybody's rear end right now. 2 weeks to get ready for a Raiders team that's most likely actively shopping their best players right now. We'll find out tomorrow for sure, but should be. It's a 2-win team. And then after that, you're staring in the face of a date with the Eagles at home on deck. So realistically speaking, 2 weeks from now, it's not crazy to think the Cowboys win the next 2 games, 5-5-1. You're in the playoff hunt. Just realistically speaking, mathematically, you're in the hunt. But too many things have to happen and go right between now and then. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Thank you, Uncle Jay. Uncle Jay got my back. He said Lando and Kavanaugh are 2 dudes that definitely aren't afraid to talk about Jerry. See, some people know, man. Some people pay attention. Some people can critically think and set their fandom aside for a second and just truly evaluate a situation for what it is. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. Whether this team makes the playoffs this year or not has no bearing on what I think they should be doing at the deadline right now. Because of how their money long-term, and when I say long-term, I'm talking 2029, how they've lined things up, how good their offense is, and how many assets that they have to spend relative to the rest of the league with salary cap space available currently and with premium draft pick capital over the next 2 cycles. Jerry Jones is not making decisions, guys. I said this at the end of my live stream today at Texas Live. Jerry Jones does not know how to make this Cowboys defense better. Jerry Jones does not know how to evaluate film and make it make sense for adding pieces to a defense that's very broken. Jerry Jones doesn't know anything about X's and O's. He doesn't know anything about who the Cowboys should sign. The only thing he knows is what he's told. And as far as telling him about what's to come at the deadline, Stephen Jones, Will McClay, and the pro scouting department are handling all of that. Jerry Jones has nothing to do with this other than performing the greatest show as P.T. Barnum Part 2, the greatest showman. That's what I've said. So once again, for somebody in the chat who was thinking that I'm scared to talk bad about Jerry Jones, you don't even have to Google me. All you have to do is just go look at my most recent post. My live stream from today, where I was 30 yards from Jerry Jones calling him P.T. Barnum. He knows it. He told us on Netflix this offseason. It's not even me breaking news. And also, just for further clarification, I posted this on Twitter immediately after and Instagram whenever Jerry made the comments that he did on with the Stephen A. Smith show today from Texas Live, where he said, I already made a trade. That's where that's where most of the confusion seemed to stem from. Because he did say that. He said, I already made a trade. And then he kind of paused and he smiled. He and Stephen A. Smith had this brief little moment of just a tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic moment, I'm still, because my audio wasn't fully clear. I'll go back and watch just to make sure. I haven't gone back to my own live stream, which I probably should. That would answer my question, but I still don't know. I'm pretty sure, I'm fairly certain, based on the psychology and and the eye contact and the body language. Whenever Jerry said what he said about, I already made one trade. My gut told me that he was talking about Micah, just because of the way that he paused and smirked. However, with that being said, he did go on to say, "Thank you, thank you, Chad Stroud. I appreciate you, man. Why be scared to talk about Jerry? LOL. Truth is the truth. I appreciate you being candid. Yeah, man. It is what it is, man. I don't care. What do I think? Jerry's not going to hire me? Why would I want to be hired by them? Why would I cap myself? Why would I answer to a boss? I'm my own boss. I ain't I ain't scared of anybody else. I promise you that. Jerry Jones needs to consult ChatGPT. That's funny. But yeah, so just what y'all got to know is don't pay attention to anything Jerry says, right? So with that being said, don't take him at face value when he tells you that he's already got 2 trades that are imminent, because he may not. That his words today mean nothing for me in my process, as evidenced by the work that we've done in the 3 weeks, and even really up to right after week 4 of the season, all the way back. We've been starting to talk about these things. The change is inevitable because it has to be. But never mind who's in charge of making the decisions. The reality is they're the Joneses' investment in their core, most of which are on the offensive side of the football, are all on the same time clock, with the exception of Javonte Williams, who's on an expiring deal in his own right, as well as George Pickens. But there's no excuse to not have both of those guys back next year. Because ultimately, as you guys well know, or at least you should by this point, look no further than the other team in your division. That cap hell doesn't exist. We've done the best that we can on this platform here to really unpack the truth on why that is verifiable. But listening to Jerry is a sin. Yeah. Keontae Wiggins is here. What's up, man? Just talking it through. That's it. Jerry isn't trading for anyone. Oh, okay. So that brings me back to my point, and I disagree. But thank you for reminding me, Jared. When he said that I already traded for somebody, in my head, based on his body language, he was referring to Micah Parsons. But then he did go on to say that the paperwork, and we'd find out about all the details and things like that in the morning. So do we think he's trading or no? Yes, we do think he's trading. Almost guarantee it. Some would even say it's already done. Some think that's what Jerry meant. I don't think that's what he meant. But I think there are a couple deals that can easily be solidified, and that can easily make your team better. And people are also failing to acknowledge when they say keep the picks that you don't even have to trade a first round pick. It's not hard to make this defense better. Now, the way to do that the quickest and the most impactful way to do it is obviously to trade a first round pick, but you ain't got to give up a 1 to get better. Minka Fitzpatrick ain't going for a 1. Demario Davis ain't going for a 1. Bradley Chubb ain't going for a 1. Will McDonald IV ain't going for a 1. And by the way, this might sound crazy, and maybe I am. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch Quentin Williams this year. Maybe he's just checked out. So maybe this year's tape isn't the best tape for me to compare. But I almost like Quinnen's brother, Quincy. Not for this team. I think Quinnen would be more impactful for this team. I'm just saying, like player-wise, his brother ain't talked about enough. But a package deal for the Q Dub brothers, Q Dub squared, that'd be fun. That'd be fun here. I'd like to see that. Trey Hendrickson, I believe, is in play. Yes, although I consider him to be less likely than one of the interior defensive, the defensive tackles and or Max Crosby, just because you got to negotiate for him twice, and that's not something that teams love to do in general, but especially in the middle of a season when they clearly have a lot of things to figure out. So, yeah, but the thing is to remember, Canyon, is if they trade for if they trade for Trey Hendrickson, they're doing so pretty much already having an idea, or at least some sort of a structure base in play or in mind, or negotiating with his agent, right? Kind of like the Packers already had a deal pretty much done whenever we knew that the trade to Green Bay was official. So these numbers and things are probably being sorted out already as we speak behind the scenes, like with Trey and his team, maybe trying to get an idea without tampering, of course. Yeah, Swain, I just see your comment from a minute ago. Jerry said, if we're not being talked about, he'll stir it up. Yeah, he absolutely did. And he said it multiple times, but most recently and most notably in the Netflix documentary, The Gambler. So that's true. Yeah, Kenyon, you're not wrong, dude. 3-5-1. It's daunting for sure, man. So, okay, hold on. So to this question here, cancel any trades, just tank. B-baller 10. So you want to tank in 2026 as well? Is that what you're saying? We need to keep Javonte and Pickens. Yes, they do, and they probably will. How am I talking about trades? We can't stop a parked car. Time to lose every game. Okay, so he must have missed the first 45 minutes as well. Maybe somebody in the chat can help him. I'll try to sum it up as best as I can, but I'm talking about trading because I want difference-making tier 1 players on this roster for this year and beyond. And I don't want to pretend. I'm not going to sit here and pretend as if hoarding a ton of draft picks is going to solve what I'm seeing right now. Keeping every 2026 pick is going to save this defense. Y'all are the same people that tell me that one tier 1 free agent or tier 1 tradable player, veteran, all pro caliber player, one of those guys isn't enough. Then why is one pick that I keep for his services going to be any different next year? It is the worst defense in the NFL. That's exactly right. That's the whole point. Undeniably, it might be the worst defense I've ever seen over this long of a stretch. Draft picks guarantee nothing. Trading for anyone doesn't matter. Okay, somebody help Teo because he's lost. And I don't know what more I can say to help him. The point is, you're not trading all of your picks for 8 guys. You're getting one dude who Micah has already proven to us that one guy can make a significant difference. It's one tier 1, 1 or 2 tier 1 veterans with a bundle of picks, maybe a 1, a 2, a pick swap on day 3, and a player or something of that sort. So you still have a first-round pick next year. You still got 2 more on day 2 next year, right? You still got capital, premium capital when you walk into the draft. You can still add rookies. But trading isn't the only method. It's not the only pillar of team building, Tay. Okay, so there you go. Case in point. Listen to yourself, man. This season doesn't matter anymore. That's the point. You're making my point for me. Even if that is true, if this season is unsalvageable, the people that we're talking about trading for are going to contribute in 2026 as well. And those people are going to be much better than the rookies that you're asking me to hold my first round picks for. That's the point. So a top 10 pick is going to serve you better than Max Crosby would. Is a top 10 pick going to turn into Jeff Simmons overnight? Is a top 10 pick going to guarantee me Quinnen Williams or Trey Hendrickson? We're talking premier players at their position in their primes in the National Football League. Guaranteed products. You're taking my non-guarantee and you're saving it for a question mark. That's a rookie. That's gonna maximize the window that all my best offensive players currently are on for the next 4 years. You're crazy. I know I seem crazy to you. You may not know who I am. And I'm probably the only person that you're hearing that's not just doing what the rest of the world is doing right now and saying, let me punch my TV, let me burn all my clothes, let me start thinking about next year or finding a new team. That doesn't solve anything either. I'm sitting here telling you, and I have been for weeks, the situation that they have placed themselves in. They're trying to rectify a decision that got personal and that made their team significantly worse. And that's put them in a financial hole now because they lined up all these players, particularly on offense, and they extended them. So now they've got a gaping Micah Parsons-sized hole to fill. You can't fill it with a draft pick. If I could get Max Crosby for the Packers 1, for this year's 3, maybe a day 3 pick swap and a player, you're going to turn that down because you're mad about how this season has looked so far, because you're upset on a Monday night. You're going to punt. You're going to take a guaranteed all-pro, and you're going to punt on that because 2025 might not work out the way that you hoped. I got news for you. How do I feel about Shoddy? I think he overcomplicates the red zone. And he leans away from an offense, a personnel grouping featuring Javonte Williams behind, obviously Dak getting them into the right direction. But then Cooper Beebe, Tyler Smith, and Tyler Booker. That is one of the most physically dominant groups of 4, the running back and the interior 3, that you could think of in the National Football League. A guy who doesn't fall backwards because his pad level won't allow it. You can't knock Javonte Williams back if he's expecting your contact. If he can see you, you can't. He's too powerful and he's too low to the ground, and he plays with too good a pad level. They're averaging 8 a clip on the opening drive. We want to throw it on 3rd and 4th down. That's the 3rd time this season that I know for a fact that I've talked about it, that it's happened, and that I've talked about it on here. Anyone saying we shouldn't trade has zero IQ. I can't quite say that, but I understand why you're frustrated. I'm frustrated too, man. I am because it's hard to get, it's hard to overcome and to deal with and to maintain your sanity when groupthink happens at the level and at the rate that it does when you're dealing with the largest fan base in the world. Groupthink is, it is a plague. It is rapid. It rapidly spreads, and it is unrelenting with this team. I don't know what Tay is still saying. If you still are confused or disagree, then we'll just leave it at that. I don't know what your thoughts are after that discussion. I kind of got went off on a little bit of a tangent there. But Tulane says, "What's the move? The move is do whatever you can to get better. Bring in talent that will that'll allow your offense, that'll give them a chance. Defenses, as the season goes on, they're going to have they're going to make it more difficult for you. They're going to scheme around what you do well. So you're going to have to take your time. You're going to have to have your defense bail you out early or in the early goings in the game, and not just instantly put you in a deficit that you can't climb out of because you can't get a stop. So I'm going to have gotta have help, and you obtain, infiltrate that help by any means necessary, and it doesn't stop. It doesn't start and stop with just trading. But if we want to be honest, I know we don't expect it. It's unusual for this team to be big players, and two of the three team building pillars that aren't draft and develop. Once again, follow the tea leaves. Listen to what Stephen Jones is saying. He's not talking about pie anymore. Catboy ain't catboying this season. He's not telling you how much he likes his guys because he doesn't, and he shouldn't. And you can easily improve your roster. All it takes is just a little bit of commitment. The trade deadline doesn't mean that talent acquisition stops. But it also doesn't mean that you only have to bring in one guy either. You can bring in more than one guy if you wanted to. Easily improve. Yes, you can instantly upgrade the floor, Tay, with one simple addition. Eric Kendricks, you want $2.5 million? Okay, you're gonna play. You're gonna wear the green dot. You're gonna play. You're gonna take Kenneth Murray Jr. snaps. Boom, instantly better. Instantly. Hey, Stephon Gilmore, you're not gonna fail to communicate accordingly. You're not gonna get. You're not gonna drop to 13 yards on 3rd and 11 in a soft zone cushion. Boom. Traquez Bridges is off the field. Kyrie Elam is off the field. I'm instantly better. Easily. Yes, it's literally that simple. Hey, let's not. Matt Eberflus is fired or makes a significant adjustment over the bye week. He's no longer sending pressure from depth. He's no longer relying solely on zone coverage and four-man fronts to create pressure. Boom, instantly better. All it is a flip of us. That's the easiest way. That's a flip of a switch. That's a decision. So, did he? once again, like we mentioned earlier, Uncle Jay, that's hilarious that he said that, and actually kind of ironic, but don't put in stock in anything he says. The greatest showman. Yeah, A-Rod gets it. Overshown, Minka, Quinnen, and or either Quinnen or Jeff Simmons makes your season or makes your defense immensely better. Yes, it does. Once again, and it's instantly and easily better because it's not hard to be better. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't think Tay understands, like, comprehension of what I'm saying is not resonating well. Yeah, I got to go back and watch Osa a little bit more closely from today. I know everybody's talking about him today. I didn't key in on him today, so I'll have to go back and rewatch it and see. But what I do know is, what's up, Javi? Welcome in. Sorry if you're late. You can catch the first hour if you want on the YouTube side. Everything that you guys think that you have missed, it's been it's a simul stream over on YouTube as well. You can catch the replay at the Lando Show on YouTube. Yeah, see there. So somebody just said that's the smartest thing I've seen somebody say all day. Armando. Sign Eric Kendricks, Justin Simmons, and Stephon Gilmore. That doesn't cost you a draft pick. Do we understand that? And two of those three names that he just mentioned have familiarity with the front office and the organization. Oh, I see that. So that question came up over here too from Prod. Oh, produced by Ace on the track. Okay, so Ace. I got you, Ace. My thoughts in its simplest form, and I've already mentioned it here, but since you're a little late to the party too, I got you. Any of those, either of those two, or if we include Gilmore, I would much prefer Asante Samuel Jr. Obviously, he's overcoming an injury. I think he had a neck issue, if memory serves. But I saw some clips resurface of him the other day on Twitter, and looks the part, man. Still young too. That's a dude that there's no way he's not better than one of the two corners that are one of the three. Then excuse me, than two of the three corners that are starting for the Cowboys right now. There's no way. Eric Kendricks, I know what he's made. I know him. I know his game. I studied it and I watched it 2 years ago or last year, and I know what I'm seeing this year. I've talked about it. We've talked about it. All we do is discuss the things that we're seeing. What's wrong with this team? We talk about it. We're honest about it. And we're damn sure not scared of Jerry Jones. Eric Kendricks doesn't struggle with the things that are plaguing this run defense on the second level right now. He doesn't have those problems. There's a handful of names that all make sense with how dire the situation truly is, how the Joneses have left themselves no choice but to try to get somebody more than just one guy up in here to rectify the situation for years beyond just 2025 because of the money that they have allocated. They sunk their teeth into Dak, CeeDee, Tyler Smith, Jake Ferguson, and more. Ideally, George Pickens. Okay. But even the guys on the defensive side of the ball, like Deron Bland and Oso Digizua, you're talking about a window where everybody is on the same, relative, all their extensions this offseason and last. Take them to 2029. And it's not like that's uncommon, right? That's just kind of the nature of the beast. Like 4-year contracts, 3 to 5 year contracts are just about That's the standard for the National Football League. It is what it is, but that's the whole point. Is when all of them line up in the same calendar year, you're telling you're broadcasting to the public, but also to yourself. You're admitting, okay, we're going for it now. We're doing this. Otherwise, why extend any of them in the first place? Just keep all your picks, right? Keep all your money. Just only try to bring rookies in here. Let's see if 14 rookies can start for us next year. Let's be the first team in NFL history to try that approach. Come on, man. Which edge would be best? There's only one answer to that one. The best player of anybody that's been mentioned with ties to the Cowboys or just with links to being shopped, it's Max Crosby, and it's not even close. Yeah, that's a great idea, Jackson. Let's just cancel the season. We'll trade everybody on the defense for a day 3 pick. We'll have 33 draft picks, and we'll see if we can rebuild our team in 1 year. Let's do it. Let's try it. We'll have 33 19-year-olds trying to play a grown man's game next season in 2026. Let's do it. Save the picks. Let's get as many picks up in here as possible. Let's do the unthinkable. Let's do the impossible together. Let's dumb it down just a little bit, okay? Let's not be so hyperbolic with the number. We would much rather gamble with, let's just say, 5 rookie dart throws than we would take 5 guaranteed products, either via trade or free agency, and then also see what we can get out of the guys in-house that are currently almost ready to go from IR. We would much rather do this. Darts. We want 5 of these versus I'm thirsty. I need 2 beverages that can help me quench my thirst. Here's a couple draft picks. Boom. Now I got exactly what I need. I got 2 picks. Or I'm sorry, I got 2 players instead of 2 picks. I knew exactly what I want. I knew exactly what I needed. I'm going to guarantee myself. When you get sick, do you walk straight into the doctor's office and they just blindly hand you a prescription, medication, some sort of remedy for whatever it is that you have? They don't ask you any questions. The nurse practitioner walks in. Thanks for walking in today. I'm not exactly sure how you're feeling, but here, why don't you go ahead and just take this fentanyl and see if you feel better. What? If I don't feel right, if I'm sick, if something is wrong, if I have an ailment, I'm seeking medical attention, I'm letting them tell me what is wrong, and they are hand selecting the prescription to rectify my situation for me. Go with what works. They do need emergency surgery, yes, but even those doctors, they're not wearing blindfolds, I can promise you. some of these guys are rage baiters. Yeah, I mean, I understand, man. I know what I'm up against, honestly. I mean, I signed up for it. I'm used to it. It doesn't hurt my feelings. And that's like disagreeing is fine. I just want bring something of intellect to the table if you're going to disagree with me. Let's have a discussion. It's okay to disagree and find common ground or not, but at least we talked like men, you know? Thank you. C-Start says your logic is refreshing. I like hearing that, especially right now when I know, once again, I'm in the minority. But you know what? I mean, the same was true. I had rage baiters. I had people, you know, yelling slurs at me, verbal assault all over the place, you know, just people being people on Twitter. And it's something personal. Just feelings come into play. We're human. We get frustrated when, you know, things like what happened tonight happen. And so somebody's got to vent and take it out on somebody. And usually I'm on the receiving end for a lot of people because I know a lot of the things that I'm saying aren't necessarily what is the groupthink. What is the mainstream Cowboys narrative? All right, but I stood tall with regards to Javonte Williams being enough. One of you guys asked me for a hype video the night before the kickoff, the Cowboys and the Eagles kicked off the season. Hype me up about Javonte Williams. Aged like a fine wine. I stood tall when the whole world said I was insane for even hinting at the idea of an offensive lineman at 12. Myself, Foch Lombardi, and Lose Takes are the only three that I know, that I personally know in Cowboys media who stood firm. Same is true for the George Pickens acquisition. Now, I didn't say specifically that George Pickens was coming, but I mentioned him as a candidate and a very likely one at that. But only because my process stayed the same. It didn't change. My due diligence, my homework. And the questions I was asking, if I didn't know something, led me to the right answer. They took me to the right place. So I'm doing that again now. And I know that some of you are walking with me. We had about probably close to 200 people for most of this, on both of these two sessions combined here, these two platforms combined. And I agree with David as well. I would sign Samuel to the practice squad tomorrow just to see what you got there. Yep. It's not hard, man. You don't have to give up picks to get better, but you can get better very easily. And that's what I want people to understand. But more than that, I want people to understand that this is about how you've structured your roster and your salary situation for the next handful of years. And you have to do things to be competitive for years beyond just this year. Stop trying to convince me, because you won't, that a 2026 rookie is more valuable than a tier 1 free agent. Veteran player, an all-pro caliber player in the prime of his career. You can't do it. You can't convince me of that. Is there anything else that we need to hit on? I need to get up out of here. Bro gives me hope. Cut it. I hate it. Hey, man, like I said, I'm not trying to sell you hope. All I'm trying to do is sell you logic. Logically speaking, my picks in 26 don't do anything for rectifying this situation. How does it help me? Christian Wilkins has like harassment, locker room issues, or question marks. That's why he's still on the market today. The Cowboys have tried to build on unproven products for far too long. You guys are the people that disagree with the thought process that we've been discussing here and say save the picks are the same people that talk about the last 30 years and have no hope because of it. Aggressively adding talent that is proven is something that this team has not relied heavily on, especially not in the last decade or so since Stephen Jones really took over. But that's why I make the point, I make the reference of what he has been saying, not Jerry. I don't care what Jerry says. He's marketing. He's selling you something. He's growing the brand. He's not building the team. And Steven's not saying I like our guys anymore. I'm just telling you. So anyway. Totally fine to be done with this team. Just don't be done with me. Hopefully I've earned that grace from you. I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody else in here that's kind of hung with me tonight. I know it's going to be action and emotion packed. But hey, man, the show goes on, right? This is what I love to do. I love being here on behalf of y'all, for you guys, on behalf of you guys. Met some of you in person today. My favorite part about what I do is the community. All right. And so we're going to talk about it, and it's going to get better together. And even if it doesn't get better, we still learn something and hopefully have fun in the process. We're still all like-minded individuals at the end of the day. And we're all here for a reason because we want this. We have the same common goal, really. Like we just want to see this Cowboys team win. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. In its simplest form. That's it. Yeah, David, I completely agree. And we touched on that a little earlier. Just a matter of time before the offense slips back a little bit because of the defense. Yeah, you can't carry that burden, the burden of trying to be a perfectionist. You can't carry that burden into a matchup. It'll overwhelm you and cripple you. And stupid things like fumbling the football will happen. Procedural penalties will happen. Right? Shoddy being nervous, shaking at the wheel in the red zone in goal-to-go situations, throwing it twice instead of letting my power run game that was getting 8 a clip, but that gets 5 and change on the season that always falls forward. We're not going to give that guy 2 shots to get half of what he was averaging on that opening drive to begin with. Let him run it twice. If you know you're going to go for it on 4th, which you should because you shouldn't trust the defense, run the damn thing on 3rd down. And even if you don't get it, which you probably, most cases you won't on 3rd and goal from the 5, but you're probably going to get pretty close with Javonte Williams. And then 4th and 1, you got a lot more at your disposal versus 4th and 5. Run the dang thing. Commit to the physicality that you preached all off season, Shotty. That's where I'm at. But I'm not. I cannot. In my right mind, y'all. I'm sorry. The offense deserves a lot of blame today, but I can't, in my right mind, sit here and nitpick and critique the things that they do wrong. Just because at the end of the day, it's never going to matter if the other side of the ball doesn't at the very least take baby steps. So, TikTok side, if you guys missed any of the first part of this show, and I know we kind of covered a lot. We went in depth on a lot. We try to tell it like it is, man. And all I can do is report what I believe to be true. And I'll be wrong. I'll miss some. I was blatantly wrong about the Micah Parsons trade. Never saw that happening, but it happened. So there's evidence in and of itself that the Cowboys are doing things differently than they used to. Jersey sales, we talked about that this morning. That discussion needs your attention right now. Trading Micah hurt Jerry's pockets. Whether anybody wants to agree with that or not. That's different than what they usually do. That's different than bringing Zeke back and making him change his number, just so everybody that had a 21 hanging in their closet would have to go buy 15. Trading Micah is different. It's a different front office, different approach. Trading for George Pickens on an expiring contract, premium draft capital, which they consider a third-round pick to be, for George Pickens on an expiring contract, it's a little different. Being tied to the players that they're currently tied to at the trade deadline, it's a little different. The way that Stephen Jones talks about his team, a little different. Now let's just see him prove it. Let's see him stand on it and do the right thing. Hopefully they do. And even if they don't, well, you guys know where to be. We'll talk about it. And I will own it. That's it, though. Remember to hit the like button for me. Let's continue growing this channel, this platform here. 85,000 and strong and counting. Can't thank you guys enough for the support. But remember that prayer changes things, and the war is already won. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.